Hello and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And this is Mark Florence.
And today we're talking about the movie Cam. Mark, I told you that this actress who stars in this movie is from Orange is the New Black. So let me show you her picture. She plays Trisha. Do you remember this character?
I do, yep.
And you know who she also is? Do you recognize her from anything else that we love?
No.
Handmaid's Tale? Oh, yeah. The one who only has one eye?
That is, oh my God, you just blew my whole world apart right there.
I knew I would. And also shout out to Nate, who just sent us a video of his puppy who only has one eye. And his name is Link, and he's super feisty and lovable. But yes, this character in Handmaid's Tale, she is the actress, and she loses her eye. Remember? Like, what?
Maybe that's like a sequel, or like a kind of a sequel to this. If you're on the internet doing this stuff, just kidding.
I mean, truly, at the rate that this world is going at this point, I would not be surprised. Honestly. So, okay, this movie came out in 2018. It had a budget of $1 million. It was written by Isa Mazi. I don't know how to say her name. I'm so sorry. But she was a former cam girl herself. And this movie is 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. People love it, or critics.
That's interesting that she was actually a cam girl, because like a lot of the stuff in it, you could tell, whoever directed it, whatever, was very familiar with the goings on of these things.
Yes, well, she wrote it, so yes, she absolutely knew. And something interesting that she mentioned in interviews about writing this movie is that interaction that the main character has with the cops. She's like, you know what? That's actually happened to me. If you try to bring up anything real, they dismiss it. Like, well, you're a cam girl, so, I mean, your existence can't be that bad. And, like, creepily asking, like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever done for money? Well, guess what? I'm trying to report a crime, so F off.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I'm sorry.
No, so here's the thing about this movie. Like, I feel a little bit uncomfortable about sex workers being exploited and, taken advantage of, or like having to do icky things for money. But at the same time, sex workers absolutely deserve respect. And at the same time, I understand and acknowledge that cam girls are not equivalent with sex workers, because they're not necessarily engaging in sexual acts. It's all a persona or for the camera, and they're getting money. So you know what? Maybe like take advantage of the system. And yeah, if some dum-dum is going to pay you a bunch of money to do something that, they think you're actually feeling, like, go for it.
So are you familiar with OnlyFans?
I am not. What does this mean?
So OnlyFans, and I am not involved with this, by the way, unless you're, no, just kidding. If you can put yourself on this app or website called OnlyFans and then get subscribers. So it's like however much you want per month, like $5, $10, whatever it is. And, if you get a couple hundred or 1,000 subscribers a month, like, you basically make your living. And I think a lot of people have been turning to this during the quarantine. Okay,
I have heard of this, but I didn't know what that was. And you know what? I mean, apparently it's like Patreon, which subscribe to our Patreon, guys, if you want to. But we're definitely not doing cam girl stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, but I've heard stories about people making like hundreds of thousands or $1 million a year on this stuff. Because if you get $10 and you have like 5,000 subscribers, like that adds up quick. And like I think you can do stuff similar to what they did in this, where you can send them like extra money for like extra stuff or whatever. But once again, I'm not on these websites, or I don't go on them, or I don't have an account or that you can subscribe to either yet.
Oh boy. Okay. That was so many layers there, but yes, I get what you're saying. I also feel like, okay, even though I am naive to the ways of, this entire world of like cam girls and like how women have, created, I'm so naive. Maybe there's an entire male genre of cam boys instead of cam girls. There probably is. I don't know. But like, good on you to figure out like, oh, people will pay for this and I don't even have to leave the comfort of my home and I can make a bunch of money. That's great. I also feel though, like this movie is a metaphor for social media and how we portray ourselves to the world and at what cost.
And like the judge, jury, and executioner of this whole thing is these nameless, faceless people online who either like love you or hate you or whatever. So yeah, like the whole tokens thing and then all the emojis and stuff. It's like you're basing your worth off these like internet people.
And like, I thought you were going to say losers, which, no, I know that I thought you were going to say it because I was going to be like, yeah, these guys are kind of like, ugh. But, the two that we meet in person and on video are Tink and Barney, like Barnacle Boy or whatever he calls himself. And they're not, they're probably a catch to somebody, but they're not, upstanding citizens, quote unquote. So, I think, like you said, jury, judge, and executioner are nameless, faceless people who can hide behind their keyboards and not ever have to prove anything about their worth. Yet, these women are judged on what kind of show can I put on and what do you want from me and how much is that worth to you?
And I thought they did a good job of showing it. It was like super chaotic. Like they'd show her doing something and then they would just show like the stream thing like over the whole screen with like just weird emojis, weird guys saying weird stuff, people tipping, these like how much is a token even worth? I don't even know. Do you know?
No, we don't actually find out how much tokens, quote unquote, are worth in this movie. Yet she's doing a lot of online shopping and she buys a new sofa for like almost $5,000. So she's making bank.
But at one point in the movie, she goes on to buy tokens for like, I think it's like $1,000, but I can't remember how many tokens. So I don't know.
Okay, so apparently the math is there, but we don't remember. Now, I wrote down, and I don't know what this is in reference to, but guess what? It's relevant all the time. Women need to support women. And also, there is this bigger issue of like identity theft because, as we realize, something weird starts happening where Lola's quote unquote account, her cam girl name is Lola. Her real name, I think, is Alice, but her account gets hacked in a sense, and someone is broadcasting, or some sort of entity or something has taken over her account, and she's not part of it. And so, like, oh my God, she's like calling the number and saying like, oh, this is my password and you're not letting me in and what's going on. And then she calls the cops and the cops are like, yeah, cool. Like that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. And so think about identity theft. Do you know anybody whose identity has been thieved?
A guy I used to work with, somebody filed a tax return under his social security number. That's about it. We did get our credit card number stolen somehow, and somebody went to McDonald's and racked up a large bill.
Yeah, and also the last time, because it's happened more than once. Okay, so the first time, it wasn't identity theft because they literally stole an extra credit card that I used to keep in our vehicle, like out of our vehicle.
Is that really how that happened? I thought somehow do they actually have the card?
No, the first time it happened, like our physical card got stolen, and we pressed charges, and she served time. A girl stole I forgot to lock the vehicle when I went into the movies one day with Campbell. I think we were seeing that Star Trek movie with Benedict Cumberbatch because I used to see that when it came out. Like I saw it like 4 times in the theater. Anyway, our physical card got stolen, and I reported it because I'm like, there's all these weird charges. And I pressed charges, and guess what? She had to clean up, on the side of streets and stuff. What's that called? Community service?
Yeah, I've never had to do it, so I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I think that's what it's called. Anyway, the next time our credit card number got stolen, and there was like a $79 charge for Outback Steakhouse in Florida.
That was not me, I swear to God.
So, yeah. Anyway, identity theft, though, it's real. Also, the thing this bigger issue that I feel like this movie brings up is all our online personas versus in real life personalities, because this is like an absolutely 100% relatable thing for everyone, regardless if you're cam girling or what's that website called, in real life, or OnlyFans or not, is that what are we putting out there to the world versus what is actually happening? Like, you can curate a perfect Instagram photo and be like, my life is perfect, I'm having such a great day. But if you actually look what's happening behind you, like you're sitting on the toilet having diarrhea.
Yeah, I mean, you got Horror Rewind Kelly, and then you got Everyday Kelly.
Wow. Okay.
But I am who I am on this podcast and in my real life.
Mark never has diarrhea.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I'm just saying, this is me. Love me, hate me. Well, probably hate me, but I'm being real on here. It's no fakeness, falseness. I don't know, whatever.
Oh boy. But honestly, okay. This movie starts though with us being introduced to her show, and we're just like, hey, what's going on? And the ante is getting upped on who's dropping tokens and what they want her to do, and someone is creepily suggesting, like, get out the knife and like kill yourself, and she slashes her throat. And it ends up doing it, and it's shocking, but of course it ends up being, a fake out. And so there's also this moment when she brings out a gun, but it's not the actual person. She's watching herself, like this new copy of her, and they're like, lick the gun, and then they're like, oh, shoot yourself, and she does. And it is so creepy and over the top. Like it's like absurdly realistic, because it feels very like found footagey for this, when we're seeing stuff as a cam girl. But at the same time, like, we realize previously that she's faked this stuff, but we don't know what the consequences are.
Yeah, it was cool when she slit her throat and looked like she died, and everyone's just going nuts, and it was fake. But what was that guy's name? He kind of helped her. That's why I was Tink. That's why I was confused. Like, are they in on this together? Like, how did this happen? And then she sees him in real life at the store, and then everything gets way too real. But yeah, I didn't quite catch the whole Tink's role in this whole thing.
No, it's fine. As we learn later, he apparently can spot when a cam girl is about to be taken over by this entity, and multiple women have. And this is skipping ahead, and I'll go back. But Baby, who has been number 1 on the rankings, she does some sleuthing and discovers she's been dead for like 6 months or something. Or actually, no, like 4 years.
Yeah. One problem I have with the movie was they didn't really get into what this thing was, really. It's just like, oh, there's this thing that's imitating people's like personas on here, but they never really quite got into why or what, but whatever.
No, and I'll have things to say about that later, but let's continue. So, do you remember? Okay, she's freaking out, obviously, because this is not her. She can't get into her account. Like, this woman who looks exactly like her is doing all this stuff, and she's going through her calendar, like Brett Kavanaugh style. Like, I was boofing this night. I was drinking with what were his friends' names?
I can't remember now.
Like, I realized, like,
Sweet.
I realize, like, we've talked about Brett Kavanaugh several times, but it's so redonkulous. Anyway, what?
He's my favorite Supreme Court justice, by the way.
No, he's not. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is, and you can get Ginsburged over it.
Just kidding, everybody.
So, she needs some sort of human connection. She needs to talk to someone like they did. For previous to this, she does this like live show, which she was against, but she, goes on this vibrating machine and whatever. But she needs some real human connection, and she needs to talk to somebody in person about what's happening, and for someone to believe her. So she's going to connect with Barney, who's like Barnacle. And the address to meet him is 666, I noticed, which I don't know if you noticed that, Mark.
I didn't notice until you mentioned it during the movie.
Okay, sorry. I'm like, this is why I shouldn't talk during movies. I'll just save it for the podcast.
Yeah, we always say that to each other. If someone starts talking about it, we're like, save it for the podcast.
It's a theme. Okay, so they meet up at this Mexican restaurant, and Barney ordered something that maybe like makes him basic, but I actually want it. It was a tower of guacamole, cheese, and nachos. I mean, it was like tortilla chips, but like, put that in my mouth.
So was that at Treasure Island Casino in Vegas? We used to go to that Isla restaurant. They kind of had that there. They had like before your meal came, they give you chips and salsa. It was like a tree with like 4 or 5 different salsas, like on different levels. It was the best. But then Senior Frogs moved in and they closed the other one, and we were not happy about it.
No, like, okay, for me, like, okay, I love Mexican food. Like, I would eat it every day for every meal. And there are very few restaurants that like get it spicy enough for my palate. Like, I need it hot, I need it spicy. And here, okay, are you ready for some basic Venus? I followed Sheena Shea's enchilada recipe, and it's hot enough for me, but also I didn't use mild enchilada sauce. I used hot. But I need the jalapenos, I need the green chilies. Like, burn my tongue, please.
Yeah, they were delicious. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, so she's talking to Barney about Baby, which is the cam girl who's number one, and she's getting intel. And this is how, as I said previously, she figures out that this woman in Georgia has died years ago, but somehow she's still meeting up with people. And so then she does the quick Google search of who has she done, duo shows with. And there's a lot of women whose personas have been taken over, and like, are they alive? Are they dead? What is going on?
I thought the Barney guy said he met up with her in person. Is that not true, or is that true?
No, she was saying that she was about to meet up with her in person, and she's driving, and he's like all the way from Georgia, and that's how she got the lead on that.
Okay, I thought he met up with her, so I was thinking somehow this internet being is like meeting people in the real world, so that was not right.
No, I don't think so, but anyway. Also, this poor woman has to deal with the fact that her mom and her brother found out that this is what she's doing for a living. She kept lying and saying that she's like, I'm in web development or like a startup or whatever. But her mom came around and she's like, oh, guess what? I watched some of your videos and they're really good. But P.S. it's kind of sad because it's not actually her videos that she's watching. She's watching this like supernatural entity. And she's like, female empowerment, go girl. But ugh.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny scene because she kept saying to her mom, like, no, that's not really me. And she's like, I know. That's just like who you are on there. She's like, no, that's not actually me. It's like, I know. We're all, different on. So I thought that was kind of funny.
It was good. It was like a nice little wink because, yeah, creepy.
So if you did this for a living, would you tell people or would you try to keep it a secret?
No, well, personally, I definitely wouldn't tell people. But at the same time, like a couple weeks ago, this article went viral and a woman said that she's making so much money by just selling pictures of her feet because people have foot fetishes. And she's like, you know what? I quit my job and I'm selling pictures of my feet. So
I heard on this radio show that this, 21-year-old girl in Texas, quit her job, quit school because she's making like $1 million a year. I think it's on this OnlyFans site. But what she's doing is she's like acting like a dog and like just weird. So like people are paying like $20-$30 a month to just like, I don't even know what, but that's just crazy.
Okay, so to each their own. And I realize people have like different things that they're super into. And all I can say is as long as it's safe, legal, and not denigrating to a race or a gender or a sexuality, I mean, I guess it's fine. I don't think I'm into anything, slightly right or left of vanilla. I guess I'm lame. I'm sorry, but like, Mark, what would you pay $20 or $30 a month for?
Just watching people golf naked, I guess. I don't know.
Really? You're into that?
No, I was just trying to think of something. Nothing. Because there's this thing called the internet where a lot of that stuff's free anyway, so whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, but you know what? OnlyFans, like, that's awesome, like, that it exists. But also, okay, at the same time, I know that there are people out there of all genders or non-gender specific, non-binary people, but notice how they don't show any creepy lesbian or bi women as these big fish tippers in this movie or a lot of movies. I mentioned to Meg privately, I don't think we put it on the podcast the other day, about, and this isn't really a spoiler, but on the TV show Channel Zero, they showed a woman doing something a little creepy and like spying on a man and masturbating to him without his knowledge. And I said to her, like, that is super rare. Like, it's usually we see like creepy men like taking advantage of women, but this was maybe the first time, especially in a horror TV show, that I saw a woman being like untoward.
Yeah, I didn't see that show, so I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But we did watch the first 10 minutes of the movie called Palm Springs. There's a similar scene.
Remind me, because I don't remember, because we weren't taking it. But what if you love Palm Springs? Cool.
Yeah, his girlfriend, he was with some other girl he met at the wedding, but they were outside his hotel room window, and they looked in, and some dude was going down on his girlfriend. It was I don't know, it was kind of weird. You don't remember that?
Nope.
Well, yeah, that movie, I don't know. We'll give it another shot, maybe.
I think that this next segment, and it's the end of the movie. It's like next level, like weird, and like what is going on. She is interacting with herself because she goes to confront Tink, who she realizes is the through line with all of these women who I mentioned earlier. Says, I can tell when someone's going to be taken over or copied, quote unquote. And she starts like, oh, we're going to play this game. And she starts smashing her face on purpose so that this copy or clone or entity or whatever has to do it too, but they're not real, quote unquote. So they're not actually feeling pain and having to deal with anything. Mark, my question for you is, could you intentionally harm yourself? Like James Franco style, cutting off your own arm. Oh my God, the sound effect they made when he like cut it or touched the nerve. Like, could you intentionally harm yourself? I know I could and can, because that's what childbirth is. It's not pleasant. I did it twice, once without any sort of anything, and it sucks. P.S. But you have to do it. So if you felt like you had to do it or not, could you intentionally harm yourself?
I mean, if it was like a life and death situation, I think I probably could. You know, if it, like when they do chopped off his arm, although that is an extreme case, especially since he used like a pocket knife. But in the situation she was in, I probably couldn't have done that. I mean, she was smashing her face into like the keyboard like super hard, breaking her nose like what 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I don't know, because if this person was she gonna die? Do you think if she didn't do this?
Well, apparently because she only knew about Baby, specifically about her death, but she knew that this entity, quote unquote, had been interacting with a lot of other women. So maybe she would have died, but how? I don't know. That's not explained. And so maybe just, you know what, get a job at Walmart or something. That's what I would do at this point instead of smashing my face.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to be like, I mean, she's taken over your online persona. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Just if you just ignore that and just move on with your life, would anything happen? Or I don't know, because they kept talking about how they kept doing all these different suicides and stuff. So I don't know. There was that one scene where they look like they were in her house, but they obviously weren't. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see where like the dire consequence was there, except for not being able to do this one website anymore.
Okay, so here is where maybe my controversial opinion won't be welcomed, because apparently this is 93% fresh. So people effing love this movie. But here's my opinion. And if it's controversial, I'm sorry. I think maybe it would have been more interesting if it was actually her grappling with her addiction to fame, and she actually created this alternate persona, and she was like, had DID or, something that was not supernatural versus this supernatural entity, which we never actually got an explanation for. And by the end, like she's healed and she's going to start cam girling again, but why and at what cost? And at the same time, like, if you've gone through all of this, maybe your lesson should be, you know what? I'm going to connect with real people and have real face. It doesn't have to be face to face. Obviously, we're in a pandemic, but actual real human relationships versus being fake. I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
I thought it was
slightly odd choice to get back into it at the end, and that was like how the movie ended. It was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she started her new show under her new persona. Yeah, she became way too obsessed with like her ranking on there and like watching it go up and down and like getting to number 50 or whatever. Like I felt
above 50.
Yeah, you know, well below 50 because you're going down to 1, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like she should have just stopped doing it and like learned like this is not the way you want to do it, but maybe that is the way you want to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, so that is like that. Maybe that's why my opinion is problematic, because my lesson from this movie would be like, get the F out of the online world and interact with real people and do something else. But the woman who wrote this movie was an actual cam girl, and what she chose to say is, change your persona, get back in the game. And you know what? That's fair, because we all live our own lives.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying it's not work, but I mean, could be an easier lifestyle than like, you know, going into work every day, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you know. So, and you get paid a lot. She was buying like expensive stuff, but then I don't know, you got to deal with like your self-worth and like pretending you like these like scummy guys and all that. So,
not all guys, hashtag. Oh Lord, I don't know. All right, Mark, we need to rank this movie. And wait, do you have anything else to say about it though before we start ranking?
Tinker's weird as fuck. I don't know.
Poor Tinker. No, I not into that guy. Anyway, let's rank it on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you hated it. 10, you think it's a perfect movie. What's our scale? Do you have a good idea for this? Tokens?
That's what I was going to say.
How many tokens do you give Cam?
Can we do it like 1 out of 1,000 since that seemed to be like a good amount?
No, because literally one episode I was like, Meg, we're talking about the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, which is epic. I'm like, should we just do our scale as 7? She's like, no, we will never change it. And so let's not.
Well, you can do the same scale because 1,000 and 10 are like the same. So if you give it like 700, that's like a 7.
No, just think of that in your own mind, but we're still going to say 0 to 10.
If we use tokens and you say 10, that's considered a terrible tip. That's almost disrespectful. Maybe that's what we're going to do. So tell me how many tokens. Imagine, though, in your own mind, if that's what you care about, that 10 is the most tokens you could possibly tip. How many tokens do you give the movie Cam? I'm going to give it 6 tokens out of 10 or 600 out of 1,000.
You didn't see me, but I rolled my eyes.
So I thought this was basically, to me, like a extended like Black Mirror episode. I felt like it was very similar to like Black Mirror or like something they would do on Black Mirror. So I thought the concept was really cool. Showing her on the Camelot with like all these, you know, I think I talked about this earlier, but these, you know, weird guys with weird names doing these weird emojis, tipping her. So
a P.S., as a caveat to earlier, I just assumed they were all male, but maybe there are females in on it. We only met 2 people in person or via video, and they were both male presenting, but maybe there are females enjoying this. And so anyway, continue.
Sorry, I'm being presumptuous there. I did like the part where her account and everything started getting taken over, and she's like trying to reach out to the website for help or other people for help, and like it was nobody would help her, so she was like really off on her own with nowhere to turn to. So I like that aspect of it. You know, I like the aspects of it, like her wrestling with her fame, moving up this list, getting all this money, but at the same time, you know, not being able to tell her parents or her mom. Her brother knew, but her mom didn't. And then there was a scene where they were at a party and like her brother's friends are like watching her.
His birthday party.
Yep, at his birthday party. And then like his brother was like fighting them, and that's how her mom found out. So, you know, a lot of different things going on. I didn't like the fact that they didn't really get too much into exactly what this thing was that was impersonating her. But the Tink guy kind of knew, but he was kind of in on it, but he wasn't. So I don't know. It could have been like a lot better. I did like the end scene with like the face off of her against herself, you know, trying to outsmart the internet persona. That was cool.
Can I just say, Mark, that you are the only co-host in Horror Rewind history who literally like defends in the court of law your ranking. No, everyone else is just like, I'll give it a 6 and they move on. You will state every reason and every rationale behind your decision. So I assume that you will defend yourself in court if you ever get charged with any crime.
Probably, because I can't afford an attorney, but
Oh, boo.
so is this your way of telling me I'm long-winded and I talk too much?
A little bit. Okay, so my ranking tokens, I'm giving it a 4. I think it's an interesting concept. As I stated, I think it might have been, to me personally, more interesting if it was like she actually was doing it herself and like, oh, that's a twist. And maybe it would have been more interesting to me if, as a supernatural entity, if it was explained more. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe I would actually like it more if I realized what was happening to these women and there was no way out of it. It kind of has a happy ending, quote unquote, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, she just deleted that person's account. So, I mean, there's nothing to say that they can't come back. I mean,
Right? It's like, okay, maybe this will just happen again, right?
that's what I thought. I mean, it's unless like deleting that account is like, obviously they want you to think it's the same as like killing them or them dying. But I mean, come on, it's so easy to create a new one, as you saw at the end.
And also, if she has been doing this to multiple women, I mean, did they end it that way in order to create multiple sequels? I mean, there's been no announcement of a sequel yet. I don't know.
I don't know either. The first time I ever heard of this movie was last night. So
Fair. Okay, so the lead actress obviously is amazing. I said the first time I saw her, as far as I know, is Orange is the New Black, which I love. I know not everyone even finished that series, but I recommend it. Also, Handmaid's Tale, P.S., like, wow. So yeah, check this movie out. I know I didn't love it, but my opinion doesn't mean everything.
yeah, I can't believe I didn't recognize her as being from Handmaid's Tale. I'm kind of feeling bad about that now.
Did I blow your mind? You already said it, but tell me again.
Totally blew my mind.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so until next time, we will see you scrolling through the horror section.
Bye.